You flinched before you knew why. The glass slipped, and you'd already jumped back before your mind caught up. A text came in that just said, "We need to talk," and your stomach dropped before you'd read a single word more. Someone's face changed across the room, and your whole body went on alert before you could have told anyone what was wrong. You think that means you're anxious, overreacting, too sensitive, too jumpy, a little broken. That's what you've been told, and it's what you quietly believe about yourself. You're wrong. What just happened in your body wasn't a malfunction. It was a decision, a fast, expert, protective decision, made in about 12 milliseconds, faster than a conscious thought can even begin to form. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly who's making that call, why they're so fast, and how to work with them instead of being ashamed of them. Let's start with the thing that feels broken, the speed, the reaction that arrives before you do. You've probably tried to think your way out of it, to reason with a pounding heart, to logic away a flinch, and you've noticed it doesn't work. The reaction is already over by the time your reasoning shows up. That's not a personal failing, that's architecture. Because your brain doesn't process a possible threat the way you'd assume, carefully, consciously, then reacting. It runs two separate roads at the same time, and the neuroscientist, Joseph Ledoux, is the one who mapped them. The first road is fast. Information from your senses takes a direct shortcut down to a small almond-shaped structure deep in the brain, called the amygdala, the part that asks one question, and only one: is this a threat to my survival? This shortcut skips the thinking parts of your brain entirely. It doesn't wait for analysis. It doesn't check the details. It just fires, in about 12 milliseconds, faster than you can consciously register anything at all. Ledoux called it the low road. The second road is slow. The same information also travels the long way around, up through the cortex, the conscious, reasoning part of your brain that looks carefully, weighs the details, and figures out what's actually happening. That's the high road, and it's the one that eventually says, "Oh, it's just a dropped glass. It's just a short text. It's nothing." Here's the part that changes everything. The fast road wins. Every time. By the time your slow, reasoning brain has worked out that there's no danger, your body has already reacted. The heart's already pounding. The breath's already shortened. You've already jumped. The classic example: you're walking and you see a curved shape on the ground, and you've leapt back before you consciously know what it is. A heartbeat later, the slow road catches up. It's a stick, but you didn't wait to find out. You couldn't afford to. For most of human history, the person who waited to be sure it was a snake before reacting was the person who didn't survive to pass on their genes. So the speed you've been calling anxiety, it's not a glitch. It's the single most protective system you have, working exactly as designed, reacting first and checking second, because checking first could get you killed. Now, I have to be honest with you about the science here, because it's part of what makes this trustworthy. Researchers, including Ledoux himself, have spent years refining this picture. Ledoux has actually pushed back on some of the early, simpler versions of the story, including how much of this is truly automatic, and even the word fear itself. The fine details of how these pathways work are still being mapped, but the thing that matters for you, that your body can launch a full protective response before your conscious mind has caught up, that part is solid, and you've felt it 1,000 times. So let me give you an image to hold for the rest of this, because it'll make sense of everything that follows. Picture a bodyguard. Not a calm, cool one. A loyal, intense, slightly overeager bodyguard whose entire job is to keep you alive. He stands a half step in front of you at all times, scanning every room, every face, every sudden movement. And he's been trained on one rule above all others: react first, apologize later. Because if there's a real threat, the half second he'd lose double-checking could cost you everything. Now, here's something important. Everyone has this bodyguard. You were born with him. He's standard-issue human equipment. What differs from person to person is what he's learned to treat as dangerous. For some people, life stayed gentle enough that he mostly fires at real threats. For others, maybe a genuine danger once, maybe a childhood spent reading the room for the slammed door or the change in a voice. He learned a longer, touchier list, and he's been working off it ever since. Same guard in all of us, different training. And this bodyguard is the reason you're alive. He learned his job, and he learned it well. He has thrown you to the ground and out of harm's way more times than you'll ever know. The problem is, he can't always tell the difference between a real threat and a loud noise. So he tackles you over a dropped phone. He grabs your arm over a text that turns out to be nothing. He shoves you behind him over a face that was just tired, not angry. He's not malfunctioning when he does this. He's doing his job, reacting first. It's just that his definition of threat got set a long time ago, sometimes by a younger you, and he never updated it. And here's what I want you to really feel. You cannot out-argue him in the moment. That's the mistake everyone makes, trying to reason with the reaction while it's happening. You can't. He's faster than your reasoning, by design. That's the whole point of him. By the time the thinking part of you arrives to say, "This is fine," he's already moved. Yelling at him for being too fast is like yelling at a smoke detector for being loud. It's doing exactly what it's for. So if you can't out-argue him, what can you do? You do the one thing that actually works. You let your slow road catch up, and you start, gently, to retrain him. The move is a pause, not a long one, just enough of a gap to let your reasoning brain, the high road, arrive on the scene. When you feel the reaction hit, the jolt, the pounding, the brace, the first move is simply to name it, quietly, in your head. That's my bodyguard. That's not a real threat. That's him doing his job. This sounds almost too small to matter, but naming the reaction does something specific. It brings the thinking part of your brain back online, the very part the fast road skipped. You're not fighting the reaction. You're inviting the slow road to the table. Then you give it a few seconds. You breathe, slowly, because a long exhale is one of the few direct signals you can send your nervous system that the emergency is over, and you let the high road do what it does best. Look at the actual evidence. The glass is just broken. The text is just a text. The face had nothing to do with me. You're not forcing calm. You're just giving your reasoning brain the 3 or 4 seconds it needs to catch up to your body. The seconds the fast road never waits for. And here's the part that gives me hope for you. Every single time you do this, every time you feel the reaction, name it, and let the truth arrive that there was no real danger. Your bodyguard learns. Quietly, slowly, the connection between the trigger and the panic gets a little weaker. You are, rep by rep, showing him the new evidence. That thing you flagged as dangerous? It keeps turning out to be safe. This is how the system retrains. Not by force, not by hating it, but by repeatedly, patiently proving to it that the war it's braced for isn't happening anymore. Your brain is built to update on exactly this kind of evidence. That's not wishful thinking. That's the same learning machinery that trained him in the first place, running in reverse. So here's where you are now, if you've stayed with me. That reaction that arrives before you do, the flinch, the pounding heart, the brace, before you even know why, was never anxiety in the way you feared, and it was never you being broken. It's a protective system older than language, running a fast road that reaches your body before your reasoning brain can catch up. The reason you can't think your way out of it in the moment is that it's designed to be faster than thought, and the way through isn't to fight it or shame it, it's to name it, breathe, let your slow road arrive with the truth, and let your bodyguard slowly learn what's actually safe. That's the whole thing, not calm down, not stop being so sensitive. The opposite, really. That sensitivity is a guard who has never once stopped watching out for you. You were never too much. Your bodyguard was just a little too fast and a little out of date, and now you know how to bring him up to speed. One honest thing before we finish, and I mean this. Everything I've just described is a model, a way to understand a mechanism that's far more complex than any one image can hold. Real human reactions don't read the script. They vary with your body, your environment, your state of mind, what you've lived through, what you've learned, and a dozen things neither of us can see from here. For some people, a long exhale and a few seconds is genuinely enough to let the slow road catch up. For others, it isn't, and that's not a failure. It's information. If your reactions come on so hard that your body overwhelms you, if they put you in real danger, if the recovery takes hours instead of seconds, or if they're tightening their grip on your life rather than loosening, then please hear this clearly. That is not something a short video was ever meant to fix. That's the point where the bravest and smartest move is to bring in a real professional, a doctor, a therapist, Someone trained to look at your specific situation, with your specific body and history, in a way I never could. Understanding the mechanism is a place to start. It is not a substitute for real care. There is no weakness in asking for it, only in being told to and refusing. So before you go, I want to hear it, because someone scrolling these comments right now just felt their own body react to something small and called themselves broken for it. So tell me below, what's the thing that sets your bodyguard off the fastest? A certain tone of voice? A phone buzzing? Someone going quiet? And what do you think he's been trying to protect you from all this time? Be honest. You'll be amazed how many people flinch at the exact same things. The reaction that arrives before you do was never proof that something's wrong with you. It's proof that some part of you has been standing guard all this time, trying to keep you safe. And now you get to teach it that you are.